I mean, that happens. Like, I mean, Donald Trump. I would say Donald Trump was indirectly elected by, the American people through, you know, electing senators, and Donald Trump took the right of trans people to serve in the military, and he also took away their fucking, which is even more this is the most controversial thing that he did was he took away their fucking their benefits.
See, that's why black people don't really commit political crimes that often, because y'all just ready to
No, we're
just
just not as
shoot
organized
over
as we were in the
everything that y'all think
70s,
is
dude. The 60s,
I mean,
70s.
what do you mean? Like people who do these like crimes and stuff like Luigi Mangione and shit like that. You think that that was a fucking team effort?
But look at the
Or
70s
was it just
when the
one
Black
guy who felt
Panthers
like,
were.
hey, I have to change this. It's me. I have to be the one to do it.
Yeah, the thing, like for
Fucking
example, yeah,
delusional
Luigi
ass.
Mangione, example, he did something about it. What happened? We're still dealing with all the same bullshit that he was pissed about. No difference.
It's
Not a
almost
single
like people didn't agree with Luigi Mangione.
people
Nah, a lot
largely
of people did though.
did. What are you
A lot of
talking
people did.
Oh,
about,
did
bro?
they?
The
So they
vast
agreed,
majority
but
of
they just
Americans.
didn't believe in standing up and doing things themselves. Okay, got it. Just checking.
Well, I think that again, the killing of another person to get your point across, or there's a lot of different ways he could have made an argument. He could have became a political commentator. He could have became a figure who lobbied on specific things that have to do with the insurance companies, but he chose to do, you know, the most extreme and
I
the
mean,
least
the
effective.
most extreme would be if he actually did do that and then used his power to create, like a movement that killed a lot
No,
of
no,
insurance
no. The most
companies.
extreme is just to kill somebody. I mean, there's nothing more extreme than just killing somebody, right?
No,
I mean,
but like, what if he
building up
actually
a
did what
resistance
you?
force is actually a reasonable idea.
No, but what if he did what you said and then also simultaneously used that power to foment a movement
Yeah,
where
that's
he
just
just
a whole
killed a
different
lot of
hypothetical though that you're
CEOs?
making. That's a whole
That
different
would be
hypothetical you're making.
that would actually make a difference, but simultaneously, we just live in a system where, like, I don't like most Americans would agree that that CEO was a piece of shit, but
No,
Yeah, but just because
I
you're a
don't
piece
think
of
most
shit doesn't mean
Americans
you
would
have to
agree with
die.
that. Actually,
I don't
I
think
think
they
that's your
people
Nah,
biased
deserve to
view. I
die.
think that's a very Hassan Piker view, and that's fine. You're
mm,
entitled to that view. But I would just say, if you're simultaneously believing that one thing is true, but you're also unwilling to act on it, what does that say about you?
Dude, a fifth of the country viewed it as favorable, according to this YouGov
Yeah, how
poll.
much is a fifth? Because when I went to
twenty
school, a fifth
percent,
was twenty
but
percent.
yeah,
Okay,
it's that's still a lot of
great.
people, dude. 20% of 350.
20% is,
Actually,
yeah, that's
no,
still that is
they
a
didn't
decent
actually
amount of
poll
people.
every
Okay, is
American,
that a
obviously.
majority?
No.
So your statement's incorrect.
Yeah, that was your initial claim. Was that a
Okay, yeah,
majority?
yeah, but
Maybe a
obviously, I'm not
lot of
gonna.
the people who are the most vocal online, I guess, but those are a minority in themselves. So
I think that most people identified with his frustration. Like we've all
uh-huh.
seen, have friends and family that have died
Look,
of things.
here's what I want you to try to imagine. Okay, I want you to try to imagine a time and a place where in America violence based on political views is running rampant. And I want you to try to imagine when that was ever good for people that look like you. If you want
I
to go down
mean,
this road of supporting violence for political reasons, like when you said that you believe that the community should rise up and be violent against neo Nazis when they're protesting, if you want to play that game, all I'm going to tell you is it's not going to work out well for people like you. Now,
dude,
you
I
can
can
do
promise
that.
you, neo Nazis would get
Honestly,
their shit
nah,
pushed
but but
in
but
if they
but he
ever
but
came up against
Infinite
the
is
black community
forgetting that
as a whole. They would
a
get
lot of those
shit
people is
on,
soft as
all
fuck.
killed. There is no chance. What percentage of white people are neo Nazis? Tell me. Fucking 0.5%,
Nah, you might be
0.000.
surprised. I don't want, yeah, I don't want to
Nah,
You
dude, you
get that
have
low
no
of a
faith in
number.
the American people if you actually
I
think
know.
that
you
Yeah. I'm not gonna be naive to what the reality of the situation could be.
And
where
it's
I'm
not
pretty
going to
sure
be
there are a
just
lot of
black people
people who
fighting
are
these neo Nazis. Watch, it's also going to be white people. It's in
no.
fact, it's
I'm
going to be
saying,
mostly white people.
but my thing is, a lot of those people could be neo-Nazi. They still pussy. They're not actually gonna do anything besides go out there and march and fucking
Bro,
complain and
bro,
gripe and bitch. So I'm
That's
not gonna
not.
say we should react
You're
to them
misunderstanding.
violently.
All right, let's say
I'm saying I
Antifa
don't think we
versus
should
the neo
react to them
Nazis.
violently unless they're doing something that needs to be the appropriate response. I don't think that that's the appropriate response.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree.
Infinite,
I
this
mean,
is so fucking genius.
yeah, I agree.
'Cause
I mean, if they're not
you
being
just
violent,
caused Tony to
but
admit that the United States isn't racist.
I absolutely do. I would agree with the idea of like fucking, uh, anti-Nazis meeting them right in the fucking middle if they're gonna march through black towns, gun in hand.
But they
But I'm not
don't.
gonna
Do they
I'm
do
not gonna
that?
tell them they should shoot the first shot. Like that's not a good
Bro,
idea.
Listen,
No,
dude,
nobody.
do
the
Nazis
the,
go
the
into black
thing the
neighborhoods and
thing
like do
that
that?
They
the
do.
thing that you don't understand, Tony, is that much smarter people before you, including black people who were actually willing to get their fat asses out there and march, stand on a line, be attacked, etc., people with actual nuts, they disagreed with you. They didn't believe that you should make somebody be quiet with violence because you disagreed with their belief. Why? Because they knew that that could be used against them. And the fact that you think that once you start this game of tit for tat violence for political gain, the fact that you think that's not going to negatively impact you is just a gross misunderstanding of history. And
Yeah,
I
so
would
I was
implore you to reconsider your position and maybe study what's happened in this country in the past when violence has been used in this way.
yeah,
Yeah,
Tony, I
against
would say
Nazis,
if you look into
literal
if you
Nazis. We're
no, but
talking
if you
about
look
fucking white
into that
people.
stuff, it's just gonna make you more angry. And a lot of people from newer generations felt like their approach was wrong. Like we respect their effort and everything. We think the approach was wrong, especially with the information that we have today. And I don't know if it's because we have more access to information, so the understanding of history is different compared to how it was before,
I think
even though it may be a little
Mexicans,
more jaded. But
dude, I
I don't
feel
think that
like
was
for
the move.
real, like Mexicans after Operation Wetback, Mexicans should have been fucking pissed.
What I asked you was, what do you think Nick Fuentes represents? You said a racist reactionary movement. Reacting to what?
To perceive slights from the identity politics, but even before this,
And why? I
uh,
don't care what you think about the history. I'm trying to
the
get to a broader
origin
point.
is not in that though. Is what I'm trying to
Oh,
say.
cool.
It's like, yeah, sure, like more racist white people joined in the 2010s as a reaction to fucking identity politics that the left. were
Why do you
pushing.
think his movement
but-
is growing so rapidly?
We're talking about a theoretical scenario in which, like, fucking neo-Nazis.
No, we're
just
not
declare
talking about a
all-out
theoretical
war.
scenario. That's why you're retarded. We're talking about a rising tide of violence that is being supported by legitimate political parties.
Commentators, but not actual
And
like
and
figures.
and we're talking about people on the left who are black in your case, but not just you, supporting violence against certain groups of people. And
I don't support violence. I was saying earlier.
you said
not
earlier that you
necessarily-
did support it. We were talking about a very specific fucking video in which, and this was a few days ago, in which people from a certain community confronted in a violent way a group of neo Nazi protesters who were marching through a certain town, and you said that you supported them going out and doing what they did. Now, you may not understand that that is violence, and you may not understand where that leads. In fact, I'm almost certain you don't understand it because I'm certain you've never been around any violence. But that being said, what I'm telling you is that when you support those types of actions and you're simultaneously using the words of whiteness and white privilege, you're telling white people that they're the only ones who can be racist, you're playing the games of hierarchical politics and things like that. What I'm telling you is that you see a reaction to that. It is happening right in front of your face. And you can look at people like Nick Fuentes for sure, but others as well. And you can see this movement happening as a reaction to what the left has decided to do. And what I'm telling you is that when you support that kind of violence that you're talking about, it's not going to work out well for you. Now, you don't understand why. That's fine. Um, I feel like it should be obvious. It's not going to work out
I
well
mean,
for you
there's
because
some
these people are going
drawbacks,
to
but it's
violently retaliate and it's going to escalate. And historically, the people with the guns, the people with white skin, have been able to do a great deal of damage against the people with black skin.
Yeah, we got guns
but
though.
that's
We did. Now
that's not
don't
really
think
So,
we
how
don't
it
got
works.
guns now. Don't yeah, you cause
so
And
if
it's
you
also,
guns
yeah,
on
it
both
wouldn't be. I
sides. You
also
know,
agree
y'all can
that it
so
wouldn't be
if you
that
listen,
that
so if you want to
simple.
play that game where you think, yeah, we'll be good at fighting, we'll be good at war, we'll be good at counterinsurgency, when you historically never have been, by
I
all
mean,
means,
yes, we
play that
have. Look at
game.
the Nat Turner rebellion.
I
what
yeah, yeah. Let's look at that rebellion. What happened? Yeah, let's pull it up. Let's look at Nat
yeah, they
Turner's
ate them.
rebellion.
They
Yeah,
ate them because they're weird as fuck.
that's a great example, Tony. How did that end?
Yeah, he's saying since a lot of slaves got killed, that's usually how it ends. But what
Yeah,
I'm
well, I
saying
think
is
that we
that
got guns
it's
now,
not
so
clear
we have
cut
the
lines.
appropriate firepower to retaliate back, you know. So, I mean, I don't think it's just gonna be as easy
Do
peasy as
you
hey,
hear
let's
me?
just
Do
go
you
ahead
I
and
hear
don't
me
burn
think
them.
saying? Do you hear me saying that you don't have the ability to retaliate back,
I
or do you
didn't
hear
say
me
that you
saying,
did.
or do you hear me saying that that's exactly what's going to happen?
I
what
didn't say
Infinite
that
is
you said
trying to
either one of
say
those things.
is
I'm
in,
saying my opinion, which is
Infinite.
that go ahead, Tony.
No, sorry. I was gonna say Infinite has a complete and total misunderstanding and misconception of this idea of race war. There,
I
a
never one
real
time said the word race war. You're talking silly shit now.
in
I'm
the
not
Well, I
listen.
well,
mean, you kind of
well, what
that
you're
you
I'm
kind of
not
saying,
imply
yeah,
that
no.
that
though.
would
I'm
never
not.
happen.
No, no. You're not going to
Well,
you're not going
when you
to
say your people,
you're not
I mean,
going to
when you say
malign
your
me.
people,
Excuse me. You're not going to malign me. I'm being very specific with my words. I said supporting violence for political gain. That is what is happening when you supported the violence that we were talking about the other day with neo Nazis having people come after them in a community that was, according to you, majority black. And you said that you supported that type of violence. Now, that's what I pointed out. That's what I said. I didn't say a race war. What I'm pointing out is that you're going to have escalation of violence. And I didn't even say it was going to be based on race, by the way. I said it doesn't work out typically for people of your skin color. So,
but wouldn't
it,
that
it,
imply
it,
that it's one against another?
no, look at Selma, Mississippi. What happened? Was it just
Bro, those
blacks who,
Nazis would get their
excuse
asses
me,
kicked, is
excuse
what I
me,
keep.
was it just blacks who got killed in Selma or was it also whites? I don't know if you know this, but it was mostly whites who died to free blacks in the Civil War. Yes,
Yeah,
except
but
the
Infinite said
difference
Yeah.
both.
is I'm
He's been
not
silent.
calling for violence. I think that white
Okay.
people, and by the way, not just white people, but any American, should go into Muslim communities and practice their freedoms openly. And if that
Yeah.
so happens to incite Muslims to violence, then I think they should defend themselves. But in no way am I advocating for someone going and committing violence first. You've never heard me do
So, but
that.
you want to
That's
incite,
what I'm
but you want
saying.
to
Excuse
That's what
use
I'm
me.
saying
violence.
too.
Now,
That's what
Excuse
I'm saying
me.
too. Infinite.
If it is inciting
listen, Saber.
violence, excuse me. If, this is the same thing that I'm talking about with Tony right now. He's advocating for violence against Nazis who are protesting on the street. And in the
Yeah.
same way that those Nazis have the right to protest,
Yeah.
Americans have the right to go into Muslim communities and burn
Yeah.
Qurans, put fucking bacon on
Yeah.
them, take pisses on them, draw
Yeah.
pictures of Muhammad, and do all of the.
Infinite's being a hypocrite. He said the complete opposite about what was happening when people were protesting at the colleges over the Gaza shit. He said that that definitely should have been shut down because all the fucking Jewish people were terrified. and he tried to use some example of, well, how would you feel if you were at a college, but now since it's Muslims, it's like, hey, you could do whatever you want.
Well, you're
You
you're
could
wrong.
burn
Uh,
their
You're
holy
wrong
book.
again. You're wrong
You
again
could.
because that's not what I said. What I said was a
Say it. It's
college.
tough.
What I said was a college campus has a duty to its students to keep them safe. And if you have a
Yeah.
protest that is targeting a specific racial group, and they are doing things like blocking access, for example, to a cafeteria, which is the example I used, then yes, the college. By
No,
the way,
but
there was
no.
12 of those people total in this country, and
That
the
was
last
Yeah.
time I checked,
for going to fucking Detroit, for instance, and then burning
Yeah.
fucking Qurans and pissing on them and putting bacon on. Dude, imagine if fucking Arabs came to Mississippi and did that in fucking Jackson,
they
Mississippi.
absolutely
Or
have the
fucking
right to. And by the way, this is how I know you don't know anything about history. Because if you did know anything about these rights advocacy groups like the NAACP, etc., you would know that in the past, before you were born, when real men with real nuts did things, by the way, they did support shit like that. They supported white supremacists being able to speak and protest. This is the
Yeah.
part of the history of these advocacy groups, which you are civil rights groups.
I have the right to be bigoted, right? I have that right. And that's something that everybody has. It shouldn't be taken away from or infringed on. Now, when you get violent, that's a completely different story. I also think you should be. I think people should be have the right to police their own communities. And I think that we have seen this in the past, and we've seen it do a lot of good. Now, have we seen it do bad? Sure. But exact thing that Big Fat Tony is advocating for, making sure that your community is safe through your own rights, right? If you have a bunch of quote unquote neo Nazis marching through your town, your neighborhood, your street, and you feel threatened, right? I think that every single one of you and your neighbors should have the right to stand outside with your guns the same way these people are marching down your street and be there. I think that you have the right
yeah,
to
that's what I'm
police your own
saying. Yeah,
community
not to
that is
shoot
safe.
them, but
So
if they
I
do
think
start shooting,
no, I didn't. I never said anything about shooting anybody. I think that people are shot too often by our normal police. I don't think people should be going out and shooting people. I think that there should be individuals. And by the way, here where I'm at right now, there's a police station just down the road, and those motherfuckers with the AKs that I was talking.
similar with white supremacists coming and threatening to burn down this black-owned bookstore. Let me put here. You can keep talking. I'll post the
See,
article.
no, now
I think no, I think no, I think I've seen this.
in that case, just like in like every other time, I'm sure you have a right to protect your own property. Because didn't
Question, dude,
somebody
yeah,
get
you're
killed
gay.
during BLM for getting like he got smashed over the head with a 2x4? Am I
Probably. I
mistaken,
mean,
Tony?
that sounds pretty
Didn't that
funny.
happen to
That sounds
somebody and
funny.
people were like, "Oh my
I'm sure
God,
a
like
lot of
why did
people
this?"
died
Just
during
Yeah.
those protests.
like,
Yeah,
hey,
when
bro,
I
like, what do you
say
mean?
police
Here's
your own
one.
communities, I mean make sure that your communities are safe with your right to own firearms. That's what I mean. That doesn't mean that you
No,
have
no,
to
no.
shoot
I'm
people,
saying
right? Yeah.
no, I'm saying I agree with the like the latter part of what you're saying. Because when you say police, what I think of as police, maybe I gotta maybe my brain is just fried, right? You know,
Yeah.
and I
I
think
would
that
say
that
you
is a
probably think of
normal
this.
take
Yeah.
of like
I,
being
I I
able
think.
to. I feel like it can be used for more evil than for good in certain situations. So I think that we should just kind of leave that idea alone because of that. The
I
possibility
think
that somebody could say, "Hey, I'm policing my neighborhood."
yeah, I mean there's always a toxic like over the top version of everything. Like
Simple
that's
as
just
that.
how it is. Like you can't really escape like people turning a good thing into a bad thing. You just gotta hope that it stays a good thing. But yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things about America is that there were people who were able to get their hands on firearms and put up a fight against people who they thought were doing something bad. That's
So,
important, and I don't
look,
think
yeah, cool. So, look, you referenced Nat Turner earlier. Okay. So,
me. I did.
no,
No, I
no,
No,
did. I
you're talking
did.
Tony.
about Tony.
Tony
It was a
referenced
bad
Nat
reference.
Turner earlier
I'll admit.
as an example of this. And so what I tried to point out is, look, the consequences are not going to be favorable for you, right? And he pointed out Nat Turner. So I've been sitting here reading about Nat Turner because I wanted to know
Yeah,
the actual statistics. And of
it's bad.
course,
But
without even knowing all of this, it was exactly as I assumed it was, which is
I
that
shouldn't have even fucking brought it up.
okay, I'll tell you what. You know what? I'll just drop it then. That's fine. I agree. You should
yeah,
not have
yeah.
brought it up.